All right, let's get right into it. This is a story about how constant conflict can completely reshape a family. And we're not talking about outside forces here. We're talking about something that happens from the inside out, right down to the very words they use to talk to each other. And right away, this is a really crucial point. We're not starting with a before picture of a happy family. No. The story kicks off with the family already on high alert. The war isn't something happening over there. It's already a presence in their home, a guest at the dinner table, even if they can't quite find the words for it yet. So the whole idea is built around this central metaphor, the changed room. Think about that. The home itself has been, well, it's been rewired by years of fear and vigilance. It's like the architecture itself has adapted. This is a house that has learned to listen for sirens. And believe me, that changes absolutely everything. And that brings us to the real heart of this story. It's not just about the damage done to a person, It's about the damage done to the language itself, the very glue that's supposed to hold a family together. Okay, so look at this. This really gets to the core of the problem. On one side, you have these big, important words: safety, duty, protection. For this family, these words were like a fortress. They were their shelter. But then, their son, Yonatan, comes home. And suddenly, those same words start to feel empty. They're hollow shells, because they just don't match up with the silent cost he's carrying. So, to really get this, we've got to look at the family themselves. They're more than just characters on a page. Each one is like a pillar holding up this entire family system, this inherited language of survival. First up, we have Leah, the grandmother. She's the embodiment of historical trauma, a fear passed down through generations. For her, being constantly on guard isn't paranoia. It's just smart. It's a lesson that history has taught her, one paid for in blood. In her world, letting your guard down, being soft, that's just an invitation for disaster.
Then there's David, the father. His whole sense of self is wrapped up in being the serious protector. You know the type. He's constantly checking the news, counting supplies, trying to organize calm in the middle of chaos. For him, all of that is how he shows love. That's his language.
And then we have Miriam, the mother. She's the emotional heart of the family. She's the one who doesn't need words to know something is deeply wrong. She reads the silences. She can tell everything from how much soup someone eats or the way a glass is put down on the table. She just knows. And finally, there's Noah, the daughter. You could say she's the witness to it all. She's the one who's listening and noticing the cracks. She hears how careful everyone is with their words, how the family's whole way of talking has become this performance. It's a language full of sentences that never quite get to the point. Okay, so all of this tension, all this unspoken stuff, it has to break at some point, right? And it does, in one incredibly powerful scene. It's like the entire family's conflict gets boiled down into a single moment when something from the outside world crashes in and forces them to finally face what's happening on the inside. And here's how it goes down, step by step. They're having a family dinner, trying to be normal. Then a siren sounds. But here's the thing. It's not the siren itself that causes the break. It's Yonatan. He just freezes for a split second. And in that one tiny moment of stillness, the whole act, the entire performance of "we're okay," it just shatters. The language breaks, and for the first time, something brutally honest gets said out loud. And this is it. This is the line that changes everything. It's not a political argument. It's not an accusation. It's a confession, really. He's telling them that their whole system, this entire language of survival they've built, maybe it's not protecting them anymore. Maybe it's just become its own kind of prison. So think about what that really means. That one sentence completely shatters the family's unspoken rulebook. The deal they all had. If we're careful enough, if we're prepared enough, we'll be safe. Yonatan's words just expose that as a lie. And the most painful part? The very system they built to protect themselves is actually what's hurting them the most. So what happens after a bomb like that gets dropped at the dinner table? Where do they go from here? That's what we're going to look at now. The aftermath, this new, painful reality they have to figure out how to live in. And what's interesting is what doesn't happen. There's no huge screaming match. Instead, the house just stops pretending. The performance is over, and what's left is this quiet, almost painful acceptance. They've entered a new chapter, one that's a lot less certain, for sure, but maybe a lot more honest. And you see this new reality in the tiny details of their lives. The TV that was always on in the background, buzzing with news, It goes silent. The mother stops setting a place at the table for a son who is physically there, but emotionally absent. See, these aren't just little habits changing. They're signs that the old language, the old way of doing things, has just completely fallen apart. So after all that, what is left? When all the old rules are gone and the words don't work anymore, what's the one thing this family still has? And here it is. This is the key. What Yonatan really brought home with him wasn't a war story. It was proof. It was proof that the family's fundamental grammar, the way they talked about everything that mattered, like safety and duty and love, was broken. The words just didn't mean the same thing anymore. And that really leaves us all with a pretty heavy question, doesn't it? When the very language that built your home, your family, stops working, what's left? What do you use to hold the walls up? And maybe more importantly, how do you hold on to each other? And maybe this is the answer. What's left isn't easy. It's quieter, it's harder, but it's also more honest. It's what you find after all the big words and the confident speeches are gone. It's love after certainty. It's family after the rhetoric has failed. It's finding a way to be home, even after the language of home itself has been damaged.